Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of A2D. I'm Michael, always here with Brian. We're going to get into some hoops tonight. We're in the last 2 weeks of the season. We're hearing a lot of different speculation on who people think MVP is going to be. So we're here tonight. We're going to give you who we think is going to be our MVPs. So with 2 weeks left of the season, Brian, we're coming down to the nitty gritty. I think there's a clear top five, maybe a top seven that are really starting to bring it. Who do you have as your top five going down, and who is your ultimate MVP?
Man, the ever-changing MVP race, right? That thing has been like a revolving chair, dude. Joker's been there all year. I've kind of been on that a little bit recently. I've been on that train because he's been what he means, the term value, right? MVP, valuable player. What the guy means to his team. Joker, man, he has to do it all. The guy's averaging 26.6, 13.6 rebounds, 8 assists at the center position, man. This dude does it all. He can shoot. He hits free throws consistently. His free throws 81%. So like the guy, his plus minus on the year 409. So like the guy has to do it all for his team, and he's got them in the sixth spot in the Western Conference. So in terms of value, I kind of lean towards Joker, but man, this dude Giannis, his recent play, man, is he had 44 against Brooklyn and took over that game. He even hit threes now. He's hitting free throws. Giannis's free throw percentage is up to 72. So if he can keep that consistent, man, Giannis, and I almost feel like he's defensive player of the year. So for me, it's Joker one. Giannis is making a push right now. I got Giannis actually at two, and then my third is I got Luca Doncic, because back to my value comment, like in terms of value, where are they without him? He has to do it all for his team. That guy, he's averaging 28.3, 9 rebounds, and 8.6 assists, so almost 9 and 9, along with 28 points. Like recently, he's even elevating his game. He's probably the most clutch guy, one of the most clutch guys in the league right now too. Luca, and so in terms of value, I got him at three. Number four for me is Joel Embiid. He's been consistent all year. He's probably one or two in most people's, but I got, like I said, for me in terms of value, he's a scorer, but he doesn't really. Now that they got Harden, his value went down, and they're fourth in the East now. So I think the fact that they're losing games, his value is dropping a little bit. And number five for me, I got Jason Tatum. That dude, he's taking his game to another level. He's got the Celtics, who were just first in the East a few days ago. They're a game and a half back right now. They're currently sitting at third in the East. He's averaging 27 points, 8 boards, 4.5 assists, and he shoots 86% from the free throw line. His plus minus is 594, plus 594 for Jason Tatum, dude, and he's had the Celtics balling. So that's my top five. Like I said, I got Joker, Giannis, Luca, Embiid, and then Jason Tatum. But it's tight, man. I think it's going to come down to Joker, Giannis, who's going to finish. And if Giannis keeps this momentum that he has right now, I could see him stealing it, man. If he keeps it up.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with most of it. Honestly, I agree. Joker. Like, again, if you take Joker off that team, they're not even a playoff team. They're missing Jamal Murray. And they don't really have a supporting cast much. With Joker's what makes that team run. So I have to agree that he's up there. My MVP, I agree with Jason Tatum. So if you look at what the Celtics have done since, at least since the All-Star break, they're the number one in defense. That guy does it on both ends of the floor. He is averaging like 30 points a game, something like that, since the All-Star break. And that is, it's money time. Like, it's money time, and that dude has brought it. Right now, it's really hard to root against Jason Tatum. I understand that they have some talent around there,
So
but
he's
Jason,
your number one
he's my number one right now. Honest to God, he is my number one player right now for MVP.
of
I
of
know
my list, dude.
he's not
Of
going to
my
get.
top five. Sorry, real quick. But his 594 plus minus, the next highest is Joker at 409. So he's almost 200 points better in the plus minus than all these guys. We got Giannis at plus 370, Embiid plus 300,
Yeah.
and this dude's almost at plus 600. So just to back you up a little bit. My bad.
So So I'm an efficiency guy. So that's exactly where I'm going for. Is he has the highest? I think it's the highest, second highest plus minus in the entire NBA. Now I think Steph actually has the highest per game plus minus, but Jason Tatum overall, I mean, that guy is just balling right now when it matters. And they just lost Robert Williams. I know they have Jaylen Brown, but he is balling like 30 points a game every night, 35 and 5 every night. Okay. So that's why he's my number one. Okay. Now, Joker is going to be my number two, and Joker's probably going to win it for a second time because of the value of who he brings and the way it's voted on. And I understand that. So he's actually my number two. And the reason why he's my number two is because I understand how the process goes. And he's, like you said, he balls every night. But he's had some games against some good competition to where he kind of fades. The game against Phoenix, he kind of faded. There's certain games where he fades. So
he gets outmanned. Like
yeah,
one man can only do so much, but the fact that he keeps them relevant,
yeah.
right?
So I agree with that, and he's probably going to win it. My number three. See, you throw out like names like Giannis, and Giannis to me, the reason why I'm actually going to drop him a little bit, I know he's up there, and people are going to disagree with me about this because of the way he plays on the offense and defense side of the ball. My mentality is the fact that I expect him to do it. So he's expected to be there and stuff like that. So he's in my top five. He's not my number three. My number three, I'm going to be a homer, and it's going to be Devin Booker. Now, when Devin Booker, or I'm sorry, when Chris Paul went out, Devin Booker elevated his game. He kept Phoenix relevant, and he locked down the number one seed. Now, Devin Booker is averaging 27 points a game and 5 and 5. And over the last 5 years, the MVP has been the best player on the best team with the best record. Now, I know that's not necessarily a big thing to most people, but he just needs to be mentioned. And what he does game in and game out, for anybody who watches Phoenix, he is the engine that makes him go. Like, if he can either go 40 or he can go 25, 10, and 10. And that's just who he is. Now, Chris Paul's there, and the reason why people are going to disagree with me because they have such a good supporting cast, I understand that. But when they went through injury, Devin Booker elevated his game, and he needs to at least be mentioned. And he is the best player on the best team, and that's why I have him at my number three. So my top three are for three different reasons in my top three. Now, my number four is going to surprise you, and it's a name that nobody is talking about right now, but it needs to be Trey Young. Okay, Trey Young in Atlanta. Let me tell you something about Trey Young right now. He is leading the NBA in total points and total assists. Without him on the Atlanta Hawks, they're not even mentioned in the top 12 seeds. They are probably a 14 or 15 seed in the East because they are nothing without him. I mean, look at what they just did at Brooklyn. And, he's been on quite the run too, but no one's really mentioning him. Okay. And then my number five is Luca Doncic because of what he means to the Mavericks. He goes in there, he can do it all. The one thing about Luca is and the thing about Luca and Trey, they don't like to play defense. So I have Jason Tatum at number one, which again, I understand is probably me being the efficiency guy. I have Joker at number two because of what he means. And, he's the reigning MVP and what he means to Denver. I have Devin Booker because he's the best player on the best team. And then I have Luca and Trey, or I have Luca and Trey, or Trey and Luca at 4 and 5. Take those guys off those teams, they're not even playoff teams in my book.
For sure. Especially Atlanta, dude. They're maybe the worst team in the league without Trey. But I mean, I make the same argument for Joker, and they're nothing without him, and he's got his team 6 in the West, and Trey's currently he actually just won today over KD dropping 55, and he still won, and that put them up into the 8th seed. So they're currently in the play-in tournament, and yeah, they're not even close to that without Trey, for sure.
For sure. And I know Giannis and Embiid are out. That's why I asked you about top 7. You could flex any one of those guys in there. in an argument, I would say those 7 guys I just mentioned, if you're not mentioning those 7 guys, you probably don't know much about basketball, because those are the 7 best players in basketball right now, in my opinion. And those are the guys that are leading their
I don't
team.
know about 7 best players, but MVP, like in terms
Yeah,
of
I
value
mean,
and in
what the
terms of what
value of
they've
their
done.
team is. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So Giannis, of course, I'm going to get shit on for this because I don't have him in my top 5. You could definitely put him in my top 5, and I mean, I wouldn't argue with it. I just kind of expect it from him now. I mean, he's been that kind of guy, and his numbers aren't totally great. Milwaukee is, I think, 3 or 2 or 3 in the West or in the
They're
East right
second.
now.
They're number 2 by 1 game. They're 1 game out of first place.
And it's the same, and the same kind of argument for Devin Booker, because they play as a team. Milwaukee plays as a team. That's why they're the champs. They're one of the deeper teams in the NBA.
If you take the way I see it is value, right? Like we talked about with Trey. If you take them off the team, how good are they? You took Booker off, and the Suns were winning still. You
Yeah,
take
that's true.
Giannis off Milwaukee, and they're not going to be winning at the same rate. I don't think anyway, honestly. And then you say best player on best team. I still think it's Chris Paul. He makes it all really go. But I mean, I don't know them as well as you do, so I'll concede to you on that one. But I see Chris Paul. You see Aiden Bridges as a defensive player of the year candidate. They have the coach of the year. So to give them an MVP too, like I don't think they're too good, too deep to have the MVP. I don't have any of the Suns. No offense, they're not even in my top 7. So
So when,
but
so when,
they're
so
they're good. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, Booker went down with like a slight, I think it was a hamstring pull or something like that early in the
He
year.
got sick too and missed a couple games, and they still won 2.
Well, so this is the reason why I have Booker over Chris Paul. Because Chris Paul, I mean, we can mention him too, but because he leads
Right there.
he leads the league in assists per game, whereas Trey
And he
leads
takes
overall.
over down the stretch. Even just now
Yeah.
against Golden State, the other game, you even text me. You're like, "Chris is Chris Paul's time. He's gonna take over this game." And sure as shit, that's what happened, dude. Like he does that.
You
He's the
know,
closer.
Yeah, I to finish my point here, when Booker was out in the middle of, I think it was the middle of January, early January for a couple games, they actually lost 2 games in a row. It was one of the only times in the season they lost 2 games in a row without Booker. But then when Chris Paul went out, Booker kind of elevated his game, and
He had
they
to.
went like 12-3 or something like that. And they didn't, I mean, they just didn't miss a beat. So, I mean, campaign came in, and I don't want to knock Chris Paul because I love Chris Paul, and I think that he's going to lead us to a championship this year. But I think it's Booker. I think Booker, when he elevates his game, he can get to a certain point where he is literally unstoppable. And that's the only reason I wanted to mention him. Another mention that I want to mention, he got hurt recently, is John Morant. But you see, like last night, they beat Phoenix, and they were
Yeah,
all
they have
seven
a
games.
really good record without him, dude. I think they're like 20-4 or something crazy without him.
Yeah,
They've won a
so
lot of games without him, so he kind of fell out of there. Same with DeMar DeRozan. He was kind of hot in that
yeah.
MVP race for a little
Oh,
bit too, but he fell out. Ja fell
Chicago's like
out.
falling apart. Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. So some of these
And
guys are falling out. Some of these guys are ascending up, and that's why I got Giannis in there, because Giannis is one of the guys on the up and up right now. He's starting to get into that playoff mode, dude, and he's taking, if he gets the scoring, because he's in a scoring race right now. He's one behind LeBron, I think, like point whatever. They're both 30.1 something. So it's neck and neck. So if he gets that scoring title and the 1 seed, it's gonna be tough
yeah,
to deny that,
yeah,
man.
yeah. That's why I want to. He has to be obviously up there, and I know my top 5. I just my because I go off efficiency. So you look at Devin Booker's plus minus, he's up in the top 3. Jason Tatum's up in the top 3. And honestly, man, when I see Jason Tatum right now, he puts me in awe almost every single night, just because he can do everything. Everything. I mean, so can Giannis, but Jason Tatum shoots well from 3. He shoots well from the free throw.
Right.
He gets the hole. He plays defense well. They're the number 1 overall team in defense efficiency. And nobody's talking about Boston, man. And I need to keep bringing up Boston. I know Miami's
Right.
number 1 seed down there, but Jason Tatum, man.
Udoka or whatever that coach, he's probably right behind Monty. He's number 2 for coach of the year. Monty's got that in the bag, but
I would hope.
number
Yeah,
2 might be him.
it's Ime Udoka, man. Ime Udoka, who
Yeah,
was he played for the Spurs for a long time, and he obviously had
play
the
for
tutelage
Portland.
of
Yeah,
Greg Popovich. So that's a great point. They are well coached. They play defense well, and then you have Jaylen Brown and Tatum on the offensive boards. Or I'm sorry, on the
if
opposite
they
side of
can
the
get
ball.
Williams back for the playoffs, that's huge. They lost their
Yeah,
first 2 when he went down. So if they can get Williams back, their center, Robert Williams, because he's a rim protector, and man, they just throw it up. Dude's got range. He'll go up and get it back here and still be able to come finish it. So
yeah,
that's a
that was
big
a big
loss
loss. That was
for
almost as
sure.
big of a loss, honestly. And I know this is going to get more shit, but that was almost as big a loss as Steph for the Warriors. I know the Warriors are like trending way down without Steph, but Robert Williams, what he brought to the defensive side of the ball for the Celtics, I mean, he was one of the main reasons why they are the number one in defense efficiency. So if he's not able to return, especially if a team like Brooklyn is able to get that number 8 seed, I mean, let's be real. Brooklyn's a team that can turn it up offensively anytime they want to. So that would be a huge hit. They would be better off probably hitting in that 2 or 3 seed and let Miami take that hit. But
For
um,
sure.
I think we're pretty. I know you don't have Booker up there, top down. I mean, I maybe don't wear a Booker jersey, so he's my boy. I have to mention the 3 out of the last 5 years. It was the top player on the top team. Do I expect him to get the votes this year? Absolutely not. Phoenix likes to get shit on by all the fans and by all NBA media. They are the best team, and he is one of the top players, 25, or so or younger, and he doesn't really get the mention. That's why I wanted to make sure he was in there. But Giannis, Joker, I didn't really talk about Embiid. Embiid deserves to be mentioned. But Jason Tatum, man, Trey Young, no one's talking about Trey Young and what he's done this year offensively. And, we both talked about Luca. And without Luca, Denver is nothing. Dallas is nothing. So I think we're pretty much in agreement on those. Other than that, there's not really any dark horses in the race. So
I mean,
who
there might be. You kind of brought up Trey, so you never know. Someone else might have their MVP. Well, I got my top 5. You put out your top 5. For those of you that are watching, what's your top 5? Are we wrong? Are we crazy? I know Michael's a little crazy, but my top 5 is rock solid. So come at us. Let us know. Well, what's your top 5? Are we crazy? You crazy? How's it going?
Yeah, man, we're gonna know what about when do they do MVP, like in the playoffs? So we're gonna
I
know
think
probably.
in the conference finals,
Yeah, so
around
we'll
that
know.
around that
They
range, right?
vote. They vote right after the season, but we'll know in the conference finals. But I think it's going to be pretty much a lock by the end of the season. We're going to know who it is. How these guys finish up these last 5 or 6 games, we're going to know. Right
It's
now,
that close.
right now in the voting, I would think it'd be Embiid and Joker and probably Giannis are the 3 favorites. And whether or not we disagree with it, we just want to give some guys some honorable mention. And hopefully we can be in a position to where we can flip some of those votes. So anyway, guys, yeah, let us know what you guys think, and continue to follow. Go ahead and hit subscribe on the bottom here, and keep paying attention because we got more to come.